It seems like trying to criticize any martial art means you will inevitably be met with a chorus of, "You can't judge something you haven't tried." And this bugs me because A, you definitely can judge something you haven't tried, and B, this is a nonsense phrase that does nothing except to trick you into being biased. The phrase is nothing but an argumentum ad ignorantium. If you're down in the comments right now trying to correct my Latin pronunciation, you're a nerd. First of all, you don't always need to try something to know it's bad. I haven't tried heroin, do I not get to judge it? People argue that you can't possibly know because you haven't mastered the art. However, these people are confusing knowledge of a subject with knowledge of their system. If a pianist tells me that my guitar sounds out of tune, do I get to say, "You don't know because you're not a guitarist"? They don't know the guitar, but they do know what a G chord is supposed to sound like. Do you need to be an expert guitarist to know that that sounds like trash, or do you just need to have heard music? If you're one of the people that's told me to go try it, make no mistake, I have knowledge in martial arts. I know how the human body moves, how to hurt it, and how people react. I know when someone doesn't know how to fight because I've already learned what fighting is. No one needs expertise in your system to judge whether or not it's dumb. But if you want to argue that point, I have a great new martial arts system for you. You give me $8,000 and I show you how to beat your head against a wall. It makes you super tough, gives you incredible headbutts, and makes you immune to being knocked out. Wait, you think that banging your head against the wall does nothing but give you mild brain damage? No, that's only true in your martial art. In my martial art, it's great. And you can't possibly say otherwise because you haven't tried my martial art. Right? Seeing as this is one of the dumbest arguments I've ever heard, why do bad martial artists, and especially defense lab practitioners, like to use it? Well, the secret is that it's not actually about whether you learn the martial art. It's about silencing dissenting opinions and making you become emotionally invested. It's actually very similar to how conspiracy theorists operate. When conspiracy theorists are confronted, instead of showing you their evidence, they tell you to do your own research or look into it.
If you look into it, look into it. And when you look into it,
they know that if they present their arguments in an open forum like a comment section, there are going to be dissenting voices ready to scrutinize their arguments. And under scrutiny, their arguments are going to fall apart. Instead, they want you to do your own research because if they can get you to read a bunch of nonsense on a disinformation website, you'll only have a single viewpoint in front of you without anyone else pointing out all the lies and inaccuracies. That way, you'll start to buy into the bullcrap and get attached to it before you ever hear that particular argument get debunked. Telling someone to go try a garbage martial art works in a very similar way. If you take a lesson, you will be surrounded by people that genuinely believe in the art. There will be no dissenting voices, and there will be the added element of social pressure. Telling someone on the internet that everything they love, cherish, and believe in is nonsense is pretty easy. Saying it to someone's face, however, is much harder. And going against a group dynamic is especially hard because humans are vulnerable to a phenomenon known as groupthink, which is when the desire for a group to get along leads to poor decision making. If you want more information on that, Google it. If everyone around you truly believes that the sky is green, are you going to get into a verbal confrontation with 30 people at once, or are you just going to sit there quietly and nod your head? Many people are going to stay quiet, and this has been borne out through experimentation, most famously the Asch conformity experiments. Most importantly, coming in for a lesson allows the bad martial artist to establish a rapport with you and begin the process of know, like, and trust, which Rob from McDojo Life explained to me a while back. If you're simply researching an art from afar, it's way harder for someone to con you. A legitimate martial art based on evidence will have no problem with someone independently verifying their moves. But a con artist would say that you can only judge it if you learn it directly from me, because the con only works when they can get you to know, like, and trust them personally. For more information on martial arts cons, check out my video with Rob from McDojo Life. Now, if you end up being more of an independent free thinker, or you're just really confrontational, and you're still criticizing their moves, then the bad martial artists still have one more trick up their sleeve. They'll say you can't possibly judge it after just one lesson. You barely know anything yet. You have to take more lessons. As the lessons tick by, you'll have gotten used to the class, you'll have made friends, you'll have gotten to know, like, and trust the instructor, and you'll have started to put in time and effort into the martial art. And this is where your delicate human brain with its persistent little fallacies really starts to come into play. We become vulnerable to the inherent argumentum ad populum and sunk cost fallacies percolating in our own minds. I have friends in this martial art that are pretty cool, and saying that the martial art sucks would hurt their feelings. And if cool people like that do it, it must be a pretty good martial art anyway. And the instructor seems like a good guy. A good person wouldn't teach a fake martial art. Plus, I've spent months learning it. I must have gotten some useful things out of it after all this time. Otherwise, why would I have sunk so much time and effort into it? The martial art must be useful. This sounds weird, but it's just an example of a type of cognitive dissonance known as effort justification. And once you've been converted, you're likely to repeat the same stupid argument to other people, and the idiocy spreads like a zombie virus. Getting you to try a martial art is just an attempt to trick you into making a more biased and emotional judgment. The only non-biased way to judge a martial art is by not getting involved in it. For example, when someone is being judged for a crime, is the jury made up of strangers or the defendant's close friends and family? One of those groups knows them the best, and the other group is capable of making a fair judgment. I'll let you figure out which is which. In addition, telling someone to go try it ignores any arguments that they actually made and just assumes that they're wrong. Claiming that my system of smashing your head against the wall is dangerous because, medical science, will just be met with a broken record of me saying, you can't judge something you haven't tried. If I want to claim a martial art works, I have the burden of proof to show that it works. I'm the one making the claim. I don't get to tell people to waste their hard-earned time and money until I provide exceptional evidence that it's worth their time. Telling someone to go try it is just an admission that you have absolutely no evidence, argument, or justification for why it could actually work. All you're doing is asking them to become as biased as you are.
Look at this kid, he's an idiot. I bet that he can't even fight. 'Cause my Krav Maga skills could totally kill. Only my school does martial arts right.